we're going to generate and use an SDK with the Amazon API Gateway. So it's possible to generate a platform or language-specific SDK for an API using API Gateway. So the first thing you need to do is create, test, and then deploy the API to a stage. So if we have a look in our existing console, an AWS console, we can have a look at one of our existing APIs. We can see that if we go to stages, we have an existing stage. So in this case, we have a prod or production stage. So to generate for that, we would need to go to our stages, and then we choose our stage. And then we have an SDK generation tab. And in here, we choose the platform that we want to create it for. So let's say we want to generate a JavaScript SDK. So we would select JavaScript and click Generate SDK. So that's going to be generated. And every time you update the API, you're going to need to redeploy the API and then regenerate the SDK to have the updates included in that. So that's an important thing to note. Okay, so another thing we have to do is, in order to have this work, we have to enable cross-origin resource sharing, or CORS, for all of the methods that the SDK generated by the API Gateway are going to call. So in order to do that, we can go to resources. And then within our resources, we can choose a resource. So in this case, we could have the root, or we could otherwise choose a method. Say, for example, the get method. And then in there, we can basically go to our actions drop-down and click on enable CORS. And we can leave the default as is. That should work pretty much for everything. And we can say enable CORS and replace existing CORS headers. And then we say yes, replace existing values. And what this does is, if you look here, it adds a second method to your get method. And it's called options. And that's where it handles the CORS scenario. And again, with any of these updates to your API, you would have to deploy your API to a stage to make sure that those updates get added, so that the changes you made for the CORS were appropriately deployed. So with earlier, when we had generated our SDK, it had downloaded a zip file. So you would want to open that zip file, and then you could move that into your code editor. And then once it's in your code editor, you could have a look at some of the files here. So luckily, this comes with a README. So we can pop open the README,